Yes. Sweet. Something like that. I think that's correct. Well, I'll kick it off with saying my air conditioning's broken, so I'm warm. No, it's my computer beeping. Let me turn that off. My phone's on vibrate.
Of course.
It's always on vibrate. So are we good to go here, or? Okay. All right. Well, in that case, yeah, it's hot, so I will do my best. Yeah, I think it's just the capacitor, and I have one ordered. It'll be here tomorrow. It's not a big deal, but it's hot and I'm sweaty, so I know I'm beautiful like always. But you know, anyways, what is new? Well, today we're trying something new here, doing this live stream of sorts. I guess it would be. Well, that's his fault. There was sound earlier.
Mute your computer.
There was sound earlier. I checked it. Check it. There's audio.
We have audio.
We have audio.
You look really ugly.
Sam just checked it on his phone. We have audio.
Here.
See, it's working. So yeah, that sounds like a him problem.
Well, that's his fault.
Yeah, no, it's working. I don't know why he's having issues. Make sure your power for your speakers is plugged in. I learned that in high school. I had a teacher that was I had a teacher who'd be like, Sam, why aren't the speakers working? I'd be like, well, are they plugged in? And she's like, no. I'm like, well, there's your problem. So I don't know if that's the same problem here, but
we have two people watching. One is me.
Hey. I mean, I'll check my phone too.
I think Sadie's hot too.
Leave her alone. I hear it on your phone. I just subscribed to the Hellhorse Performance channel.
Me too.
Your sarcasm is unbelievable sometimes. Anyways, yeah, all right. Okay. Anyways, let's kick off. So yeah, we're trying this new layout, live stream, gonna still turn it a podcast. Best idea. I don't see why not. Not a bad idea. No, I agree. No, good time to do content. Lots of stuff going on. Lots of stuff in the works. So I just wanted to update lead times because I keep it updated on the website, but people seem to not always read it. And so clusters are right now about 3 weeks to ship. It's a little longer than it has been, but actually this week it actually looks like it might be getting faster again. because we ordered the one for your new car and it actually already shipped. And when did we order that? Last week? Yeah, so that's a week to ship. That was which is not typical. I don't think it's actually gonna be that fast. I don't know why that one was that fast. Normally, I'd say give it 2 weeks, but that was extremely fast. So that's good news. Nope, just regular cluster. Uh, I don't honestly know if the other ones take longer. In theory, they shouldn't because they all come from the same place. They're programmed when you order them. So
Can you all on the YouTube hear me now? I think my mic was muted and you guys couldn't hear me.
I heard you.
Interesting. Well, I'll leave it unmuted. If you guys hear double audio, let me know.
Anyways, so that's that on clusters. No new coupons right now. It's just it is what it is. They're just expensive and it sucks. And I know how it goes.
Yeah, our ability to get them
Person.
cheaper went away, for sure.
Right. So you never know if it'll come back. That it might be COVID related, might be supply chain related. There's supply chain issues are starting to trickle down that weren't there before, and we're not the only ones feeling it. But
right,
we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Sync kits are still 2 months. They went down for a minute, but we got a ton of orders all of a sudden, so we're back at 2 months. GT350s are probably half that, and if you have a 2019 plus, it might be faster, it might not be. It just depends if we get the new bezels for 2019s, which
and the difference there is the CD
come.
player. Like to clarify for those that are listening or watching, that's the CD player, correct? That's the difference between the FCIMs.
Yeah, the bezel only difference is that CD player slot. And sometimes on 2019s, we even ship the CD player slot ones just because we're out of the non. And I'm sure people don't really care, though. If you're listening to this and you got one and you do care, we can exchange it. No problem.
Guess what?
I haven't had anybody complain.
Guess what? I just killed the video again on accident.
Come on, Jeff.
Just keep going. I killed the video. I'm going to try to fix it.
Anyways, that's just the lead time updates. But honestly, orders really were crazy the past 2 months, so things have been taking a little longer just due to the volume, and we're 2 people with a couple others that might help out with specific things, but that's that update there. You might want to touch on this, but I know we're starting to do some more F-150 stuff.
We are starting to do some more F-150 stuff. Let me touch on that when I can figure out if I can get the video back up without having to.
That's fine.
Crash the Zoom call.
Hoping to have some more time, which I never have more time, to go ahead and guinea pig some sync kits for 13, 14 F-150s. I know we talked about this months ago. I never did it. I have confirmed the harness we use will most likely work for those applications. So we really haven't offered any of these for sale officially yet until we get some testing. But if somebody wants to be a guinea pig, might give a little discount to give that a shot. If you have like actually not 13, 14s, 15 through 17 F-150s. And then Super Duties 17 through 19s, because they didn't change it till 2020. And we can do 2020 Super Duties now, which we haven't added. But 17 through 19s, I'm pretty sure I can do them. Just need a couple people as guinea pigs. And I need to find touchscreen brackets for them, which is the other hard part.
Let me pause you there. I'm going to kill this meeting and restart it. If not, we're just going to do it with the background. I've got the audio for the thing paused. I tried to slide you over, so I wasn't looking to my right into the camera, and I fucked it up. So, hold on. You can laugh later. Only I can see you. What a cluster this is. Trying to use Zoom for dual chat is not super easy. But we'll get it. We will get it. Eventually I won't touch it and we'll be good. Sam, I still see you. You don't gotta worry. I still see you.
We back?
All right. Yeah, I think we're back. Sorry. So
all right.
let me adjust us, and then we're good to go.
go ahead and touch quickly on F-150 stuff.
So our guy that loads all of our product is going to be doing all of the F-150 stuff here probably in the next 2 weeks, I would say. Maybe 3. Give it a little bit of time. I don't know how long it's going to take him to start at it. He's going through right now and cleaning up product pricing, map pricing, and then we've got like long tube headers we've got to add, and then some categories to fix. But I think Ford F-150 parts outside of what do we have right now? Dash and radios, I think is the only thing we have up. Should be live.
Right.
I mean, I would say within the next like 4 weeks, that stuff should be up. We'll probably make some clarifications to the products to make sure that people know the stuff that works for F-150 and F-250, Super Duty stuff. Like, we want to put the dash in my truck. I should have had you order that before you came down here, so we could have done the truck at the same time. But
I'll get you one.
we'll figure that out.
probably get one.
We'll figure that out because we got some other stuff going on. But yeah, F-150 stuff's coming. Got some categorization stuff that's going to go on with that here in the next, I don't know, let's just say month. I mean, by the middle of the summer, we should have almost double the Mustang offering product-wise, and we should
Lots
have
of new products.
we should have almost double the F-150. Well, I shouldn't say double the F-150. The F-150 count should be nearly identical to Mustang. Like, I think we're at like 6,000 SKUs for Mustang. I think the original spreadsheets I built for him
Lots of
showed
new
like
products, right?
6,000. Right, exactly.
And of course, if there's something you want, ask, because most likely Jeff can get it. It's
Right.
just
Everything's
it's
available.
slow
It's just not on the
process getting
website.
everything on the website, right?
Correct.
Anyways, so you bought a 2020 GT,
I did.
and as a daily driver / media press car, right now,
Yep.
talk about how difficult it was to find one right now because they're not producing cars.
So I work with a bunch of different dealerships. Hellhorse works with a bunch of different dealerships. Lebanon Ford's coming on board as a side token. But here in the Houston area, one car was on, which was posted on Instagram, that started the Q&A of should we build a marketing car that's lower horsepower to show what you can do with low budget or medium budget twin turbo car with our twin turbo kit, was a California special. So the dealership I deal with is, I think, the largest volume dealer in the country. I mean, it's huge. I think their dealership is like 65 acres. You've been there.
Yeah,
I had one option, California special. Auto Nation and Katy and a few other places had some base models with 315s. But I wasn't so sure about that. So they ended up actually getting from another Ford dealership in town on Dealer Trade, I think for an Explorer ST, a base model 300A with 355s that was already tinted, already had wheel locks, already had paint protection film. It must have been in the showroom at some point because it had like all the options on it. And I picked that up, and that was my only other option. The minute I said no to the California special, it literally was sold 5 minutes later. So at least in Houston, the shortage of Mustangs is legitimate.
Well, if you go on any, autotradercars.com, Car Gurus, and you put 2020 Mustang, you see a ton of EcoBoosts, but not many GTs. And now,
Right.
in theory, they're starting to open the plants again. So
I think
we
that
hope
supply will definitely come back because 0% is gone. Like, I'm definitely glad I did not wait till
Oh, it
June.
is gone?
Yeah,
Did
if you
it end
check
at the end
Ford's
of May?
site, there's no 0% on Mustang. So what did I buy on like May 27th or something? I'm trying to see if I've got anything here with it. I think it was like May 26th, May 27th, something like that we bought. And then 0% ended June 1st. So I was actually, at least on
Well-
Mustangs. I don't know if it's that way on F-150s and trucks and
Well,
stuff still, but
That's interesting because did you see Toyota just released that they're doing 0% on the Supra? They just
Interesting.
started doing that. So it's
Interesting.
interesting timing because car sales are starting to increase. I think people are going to definitely drive cars more than mass transit. The CDC has even said it's safer to drive your own car than mass transit, which I guess is an obvious thing. So
right.
might see more car sales because of that. People like, well, I'm going to commute in a car. Might as well get myself something nice. I don't know, but
Yeah, it's interesting. Normally, I could walk on that lot and pick any color and combination I want, like I did my truck.
right.
And even when I bought my truck, there was very few of us in Houston that already had 2020 F350 dualies, but I had like pick of the litter for colors and options and things like that. But no, I mean even EcoBoosts, I think they were down to like 14 EcoBoost Mustangs, and most of them were convertibles. So the shortage
Yeah,
is
no, it's interesting.
it's definitely it'll be interesting to see what happens when supply returns and what people do with that when it starts returning.
All right. So with your new car, I also bought another car. So what I have 5.5 cars now. I
Too
bought
many.
another Mustang. I have three, well, 2.5 Mustangs now because I only half own one of them. But I bought myself a rebuilt 2015 GT Premium 401A non-performance package, manual. It was dirt cheap, 24,000 miles. Has a couple issues, but it runs and drives. So it was slammed to the ground. It was just like it had been a little abused, but it runs and drives. Have some plans for it, or I might sell it. I don't know yet. It's a little early to tell. I'm gonna just start by fixing a couple things, but it's it might end up being a drift car. But it's very interesting to see how cheap some S550s are getting, especially 15s and
Mhm.
16s, and even with lower miles in some cases. And I think they're becoming really affordable for people who want a pretty damn good car at a steal of a price.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I mean they're at least maybe because the mileage is going up. It seems like the low mileage cars like my 15 still hold a pretty high premium, but the 50, 60, 70,000 mile cars seem to be dropping. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
still trying to find one to put a 7.3 in, and I've had offers at like 17, $18,000 for clean title 70,000 mile cars. But that's not a topic for today. About what I'm trying to
Yeah, we'll talk
7.3
about
swap
that when it
something.
comes to fruition.
Right,
Uh,
exactly.
are any tracks opening near you yet? Is the
Yeah,
drag
Baytown and Dallas are
Baytown
open.
open?
Houston
Okay.
Raceway, which is the eighth mile track, is open. Everything's kind of normal down here outside of like.
Ours here, are they doing a Midnight Madness?
I thought they were going
I
to.
think
So ours here might be open.
Well, Gateway actually announced the event that's going on Sunday, like Gateway.
Oh,
or
okay. So they
worldwide.
have. So I guess we are opening around here, and that's in Illinois. Technically, our track is, which Illinois is a little more strict than we are here in Missouri. So we'll see how that goes. Something we did last weekend is we rented Raceway Park in the Midlands up in Iowa near Omaha, Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
It's $1,000 for the entire day for up to 10 cars on the track. So it's a ridiculous deal. And they have a drag strip. You can't use it. That was road course. And you can't drag race down the main straight, unfortunately. The main straight's probably over a quarter mile long. It's a pretty long straight. But no, that was a good time. We're actually going back June 21st and July 17th. So I might have some footage from that. It's a great time to test. But there, it'd be a haul to get up there from Houston, but if people want road course time, it is by far the best dollar for road course time. And I know they have a bunch of open days still that you can book. So
I've
they're
got a
looking
buddy
like
that wants to go up there just to spectate. He was asking me when you were going to be up there because he's thinking about taking his kids just to watch. Are they open to spectators?
Yep, you can honestly. They haven't told me. Let me start over. I asked, is it cars or total people there? And they're like, it's number of cars is limited to 10. So you can have more people to spectate. So yeah, I think my dad's actually going to come up when we go in June. But yeah, we're going to, in June, we're bringing a bunch of drift guys up because they allow drifting. So we're going to do that, and we'll do some road course stuff too. But you have 10 hours. So it's the whole day for 10 cars. So it's
That's a
it's
lot.
worth the money.
It's like track
It's so cheap. I mean, normally just an HPDE event here, like they have the Tuesday events, like $175, and you get 80 minutes of track time with like 30 other people on track.
Wow.
So, or it's $400 for 2 days, which is 80 minutes a day. So, yeah, it's cheap.
That is cheap. That is cheap. No, but things seem to be open. There's no more, Corona. riots and protesting kills Corona.
Yeah,
Just so you know.
yeah, you're right.
Round two.
But on top
Well,
of
they-
you know Corona killing things, what do you think about Hertz? Finish what you're saying, but on that topic of like stuff
Yeah, no,
opening,
yeah,
what do you
you're
think
right.
about like the Hertz ordeal?
I think when coronavirus, when like I was in LA with Sam too over here when they first started doing stay-at-home orders, and we had rented a 911 because there was nobody there, and it was like for like 3 days of a 911 rental, it was like $500, which is it's $130,000 car. It's not a base model, it's a Carrera S with options, and just a crazy deal. But now now Hertz is like, yeah, we don't have any money, so I have a feeling we might see them selling off a lot of cars. I know I was reading today they canceled a bunch of new orders, which is going to definitely hurt some car manufacturers. Whoever make the most fleet cars, I'm really curious what they all are. They seem to have a pretty good selection, but you know, there's definitely I don't know if it's a Nissan Versa or you know what do they buy the most of, but there might be some used rental cars, and I hate buying rental cars, but there might be some just really cheap, or they might be driving the price of used cars down, which could be bad for the whole market. But
Yeah,
we'll see.
I think it's going to be dictated. I mean, I've seen some Z06s, or maybe they were base Stingrays or Grand Sports or something that they had posted up somewhere for sale, and
Wouldn't
they weren't
surprise
really
me.
all that discounted. It might have been $2,000 or $3,000 cheaper than the used car at the dealership, but most of the time, rental cars don't look as pretty as the guy that's taking care of his car trades it in and gets a new car.
Yeah, I know I beat on them. Rental cars are not treated well.
I had a lot of loaners last year, and I didn't treat them nice either. So
Right. Anyways, I was reading some more automotive news today, and I was seeing some new stuff about Nissan. We all know Nissan's in quite a bit of trouble, and I honestly thought they were just going to kill Infinity, but apparently they're just making it so Infinity is not going to have any of its own platforms, and they're going to try to share Nissan platforms, which makes sense. That's what most of the luxury car brands do. They share their non-luxury counterparts platforms. But what cracked me up is I don't remember what the guy's role was. He was some chief of something at Nissan. And he said Infinity is going to be a Nissan Plus brand now. And he was very proud of that. He's like, Infinity will be great. And I'm just thinking, Nissan Plus doesn't sound good to me because Nissan's already crap. So, like, it's just like crap, but it's shiny crap.
Well,
Exactly.
that just reminds me of like Toyota and Lexus. Maybe it was early 2000s, late 90s. The Camry was the GS 300. All they changed was the headlights and taillights.
Well, I mean,
The
Ford did
badging
that with
changes.
Mercury, right?
Yeah, Ford did that with Mercury, but you're talking luxury. Mercury was supposed to be a budget brand.
No, right.
So,
And I think that, well, honestly, Ford and Lincoln were like that for a long time. Lincoln, honestly, is quite set apart now, and it's so much better than it was. But what I think Nissan or Infinity is going to turn into is like Mercury was to Ford. It's going to be, it's going to be just the Nissan car. Maybe you get leather and you get the different badge, but
kind of
I
like
don't even know why they're keeping it. I know they're only keeping it in the U.S. and China markets because China has a market for luxury cars, but I don't know. They're still in trouble.
well, it's kind of like what's the brand? I can't.
And the
think of it
new,
right now.
the only thing that I am anticipating is the new sports car,
But the new 400Z or whatever.
400Z.
It looks like an Aston.
I mean, the 370Z was a great car. It really was. It was a good sports car, and Nissan's made good sports cars, but it came out in 2009 or earlier.
2009.
So
Well, the 370Z is just a
old.
revamped 350 with a VQ37 instead of a VQ35. So in reality, you need to go all the way back to like 2004 or 5 when the 350Z first came out, because they did the interior looks exactly the same. They added a Nismo package, which gave rid of the track pack of the early 350Z, which had Brimbos and all that stuff, and no body kit. So I mean, it's been around for a while. And once the GTR came out, to me, the 350, 370 kind of lost its place because wasn't a fully loaded 370 like 60, 65,000
A Nismo is like, Nismo's what, 50? Nismo's like 50. But you can, the funny thing is they don't sell, so you can get a Nismo 10 grand off, which still,
that's true.
40 grand is, I mean, today, for a 2009 car, 40 grand is too much. Especially what cracks me up is I'll sometimes see ads for them on Facebook, and the interiors are out of 2009, so they're crap. And I'll show somebody a picture and be like, "What year you think this car is?" They're always like, "I don't know, 07." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's a 2020."
Well, I mean, Dodge had the same problem until what, 2012, 2013, when they did the first Ram remodel. Everything had like Dodge neon radios, like the old Vipers, like the Gen 3 or Vipers, where it was
so
like the
bad,
round
right?
radio, and then there was all the fancy little dial knobs and all the cheap plastic and the cheap interior. And
Hey,
they didn't really update that until what, 1 or 2 model years ago, when they're like, hey, we're actually going to give you an 8-inch display in more vehicles than not, which Ford should be doing. And now they're like, hey, you can have the whole 14-inch display in basically every trim now to be completely different. So I think every manufacturer is realizing that people don't want to be buying what I call a neon cheap shit on the
no, you're right.
interior in their more
You're
expensive
right.
vehicle.
Did you see what Ford updated for 2020 that they hadn't updated since I think it was like 2002 or maybe it was in the 90s even?
What did I miss?
It was the Econoline steering wheel. So like all those shuttle buses and stuff you get in, they're gonna have a new steering wheel now for 2020.
Wow.
First time they've updated it in a long time. So
All they've done is facelifts for 20 years.
it's just funny to me. Things like a steering wheel, they're like, it's fine. It costs us $4.39 a steering wheel. That's $4.39. So why not just keep using? I mean, it's honestly, I get it. It's a Econoline chassis, so who cares?
Well, U-Haul's buying that stuff. Churches are buying that stuff.
Sure.
Transport companies,
Sure.
airport shuttle companies.
Oh yeah, lots of people buy them. That's why they still make them.
I figured the Econoline van, not the. I thought the whole Econoline series was going to go away when the Ford Transit took off. It's got as much seating.
Because the chassis is cheap compared to the Transit. The Transit chassis costs more.
That's true, but I figured it would just die off. It seems weird that they're keeping both. I mean, I guess except for U-Haul, but there's no issue with U-Haul using like F-250 cabs.
And they're also huge on RVs too. They use them for smaller C-class RVs as their chassis.
That's
so,
very, very true.
I had a buddy ask me today and wanted me to talk about it. He's looking at buying a Mustang, and he thinks he knows what options he wants. But his question was, it's probably going to be a daily driver, but actually knowing him, it might not be. He probably will drive some piece of crap Ford Focus or something because that's just how he does things. But anyways, he was wondering if you should get a performance package or not. So it's a I have two people over here nodding yes, but it's a good question. And I mean, for me, I say absolutely. But on the used market, it can actually fetch a pretty penny. So I don't know. It's a tough answer because if it's going to be a daily driver and you're never going to take it to the track, there's literally no point, in my opinion.
Oh, it looks cool. It's got some cooler looks. The better question is, are you going to modify it?
True. Yeah.
And then what level of modification are you going to go to?
Yeah, if you're going for a 1,000-wheel horsepower drag car, there's no point.
Like a base model in the garage for that.
Literally no point. Ben over here texting Stan. He's mad at my Focus comment.
That's funny. I mean, it really depends on the goal. If you're going to buy a PP, let's just say a PP1, because I think the MT82 D4 is complete trash, and Ford should have done away with it.
Okay, if you're going to get a manual, though, and you want a performance package, you're buying it brand new, you might as well get a PP2 now because it's $5,000 for the PP1 or $6,500 for the PP2, and that upgrade is like worth the $1,500 difference.
Yeah, but by the time you get to a PP2, you're at GT350 base car money. A 401A 10-speed PP1 is
you're
50.
On 401A, okay.
Yeah, I mean, fully loaded is $54,000 sticker price now.
Yeah, they're expensive.
So by the time you go PP2, you're at 57, 58 sticker. Might as well buy a GT350 before they disappear after this year.
No, I see what you're saying there.
You get a better transmission.
No, that is true.
It's not going to blow up. I mean, the motor probably will blow up, but the transmission won't.
The motor blow up? That's so terrible.
Definitely going to lose the motor. Everything else will be okay.
Yeah, that's why you own those under warranty, right?
Yeah. Or just get rid of them after 1 year like everybody else. I really think it depends. You know, my 15 started out as a PP. I like the leather interior. I liked the center gauges. The big screen was the only way to get it. But, you know, nowadays and age, I don't know.
If you're going to daily drive the car and you're never going to take it to the track, get yourself a premium non-performance package if you can afford it. It'll be great. If you're gonna build the car, then there's no point in getting a premium. There's no, I mean, performance packages might matter to you then, but I mean, it just depends it's really more of what you want than anything. I know it's a should I do it, but no, you probably don't need it. But do you want it? Can you afford it? Well, there's a real question.
Well, like Xander, he started out with daily in that car, basic bolt-ons. Now there's not the
Well, that's
original
how my
seats, no
16
back
is.
seat.
I bought it.
Today,
I
I think-
daily.
Yeah, he drilled a hole in the back bumper, I think, for the parachute bar today. There's nothing left of it being a PP other than, well, the VIN saying it's a PP premium. I don't know. I think when you look at the price difference, the base still makes more sense.
Right.
I mean, digital dash,
Especially
sync,
2020 now with how expensive they are.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, between adding a digital dash, sync 3,
Yeah, adding a digital dash and sync 3 is not that expensive.
and you're talking even if you wanted to add vertical links, springs, and shocks. And I'm not talking about Ford Performance Pack. I'm talking like Steeda, if you're going to go road course like you do, right? Steeda stuff, all that under $1,000. I mean,
yeah, it's not expensive.
I mean, it to me doesn't make.
Unless you're not going to modify the car at all. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't make sense.
It's really interesting. I mean, it really is, because you look at like, so I own a premium 15, and now I've got this 2020 base model, and obviously I've been in a lot of them with customer cars. But by the time we have the dash and the Sync 3, the only thing I'm really giving up is leather for the price when you think about it.
Yeah, makes sense.
So,
what?
I was going to say.
Give me the answer.
I was going to say, Samuel says, "What's up, Hellhorse? What do you all think of the Mach 1 that's coming? What do you think about the Mach 1 that's coming? Do we know anything more than when I called it? And I want to put this on record. 3 months ago, I called it Gen 3 5-liter DCT PP2 suspension, and it seems like it's going that way. So
we don't know anything more. I don't know if it's a GT350 replacement. I think that's what they're trying to do with it. It's definitely a Bullet replacement. I'll tell you that much. But
are they killing the Bullet? I thought they were keeping the Bullet for 2021.
They might keep it for 2021. I don't know. We don't know yet. I mean,
there's no more.
They're still not producing. Everything's slowed down. So
right, and there's no more GT350.
Right, I know that, but I mean, it's hopefully going to be. I think really it's more going to be like a performance package level 3 car.
If MSRP is mid 50s and it's a DCT 5.0, I will buy one and twin turbo it. I think that'll be a great platform. For mid 50s, if you can get PP2 suspension with a DCT and the 5-liter, which is obviously more reliable than the 5.2, it makes sense.
At the same price, would you rather have one of those or a GT350? Assuming it is what you say it is.
I mean, if you want a manual, get a GT350.
Sure.
Let's get 370Z.
Right. Let's just get more. Let's just go get a Nissan Maxima while we're at it. I think the pricing is going to be the most interesting standpoint, in all honesty, because if it's a mid 50s car that actually gets discounts like the GT350 doesn't, I mean, the 350 never gets discounted. If you can actually get discounts on the Mach 1,
because it's not a Shelby name, right?
It's not a Shelby name. You might be able to get a a really badass deal on it. I mean, all we know is it's a 5-liter with.
Well, you know, they're not going to give me deals right off the bat. None of them. I mean, it's like deals don't apply to the Bullet, right?
Right.
I have a feeling they're going to be expensive. You're probably right, mid 50s, but it might be a good car. I'm assuming it'll probably be like the Bullet, where it's. Well, I don't know. They might have a base model version of it. They might have a premium only version, like the Bullet's premium only.
What if in the New Edge, the last time they had a Mach 1, what was its trim options? Wasn't it take it as is and be done, kind of like the Bullet?
Yeah, there was one trim option.
I think you got an appearance pack option.
You got the motor upgrade because it was the NA 4-valve. So, but it wasn't the Cobra block.
Maybe a stripped down version. You know how Porsche has like the Cayman T.
It could be a stripped down GT500. In all honesty, if it's a DCT 5-liter,
could be. That would be interesting if they could make it more of a track focused car.
Kind of what it was to the Cobra in a way. It was kind of just a quote unquote detuned Cobra. That's how people kind of looked at it.
Well, we will see, won't we?
I want one
It's
now.
going to be, I think that's going to be interesting. I mean, Samuel, we don't know if it's not going to come with a manual or not, but if it comes with a manual and it's an MT82, then don't fucking buy it.
Facts.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Because of DCT.
Yeah.
Oh.
No,
If
DCT.
it's another,
great,
yeah,
man.
it makes more sense that Ford would go DCT. It seems like every manufacturer is trying to get away from manual. Even when you look at trying to find a 6-speed base model Mustang GT, it's nearly impossible compared to 10 speeds now because, face it, most people don't know how to drive a stick anymore, and autos win races.
Oh, that's true. I mean, I like driving a manual, but
Me too.
there is autos definitely have their advantages, and especially a good one, a good dual clutch. I mean, like the 10 or 86 or 80 aren't bad transmissions, but a good dual clutch like PDK and the Porsches are just it's just amazing, and it's on track. It's so much easier to drive an automatic. It is a lot of work driving a manual, and it's rewarding. It's fun. I enjoy it, but some good automatic transmissions are fantastic. And
Well, it's kind of like when you look at like the Gallardo when Lamborghini was finishing that run. They were still single clutch automatics that were. Was it Lamborghini or was it Ferrari? It might have been Ferrari with the 430. That's what
they
it was.
Both had
Where the
single.
lag and the paddle shifting was
they're
super bad.
horrible.
And then they went to a dual clutch and it was a monster.
Yeah, the Lamborghini one was horrible.
The Trip or the E-Tronic garbage.
Not
Clutches go on like 5,000 miles.
yikes. It was like an SMG, like
I think it was
like
more than
BMWs,
SMG.
because I've heard BMWs as SMGs, while they feel horrible on the street, they're actually apparently really good when you push them hard. But
The only
those
one
are-
I've ever driven is an M3, and that was like a 2003, 2004. Was that like an E92, the last segment of the true inline V6 or whatever?
E46.
E46, yeah.
okay. New question: would you rather have, if you're buying a used Mustang right now?
Mhm.
Let's just say daily driver. Would you rather buy a 17 or an 18 used, and why?
Just as a daily driver?
Daily driver, GT.
Man, does it matter if it's manual or auto?
No, you can buy any trim level, manual, auto. It's just 17 versus 18.
So if I wanted a manual, I'd buy a 17 because the original MT82 seems to hold up better than the MT82 D4. If I wanted a car that felt more fun and you could do a little bit more with, like an 18 10R80 would be fun. I think the 10R80 is more geared towards people trying to have fun in an auto than the 6R80 if you're not tuning it, racing
What's
it.
interesting is I think coming into this question, I had a different answer, but listening to you say that, I think I agree with you. If I wanted a manual, I'd definitely buy a 17. But if I wanted auto, I could see buying an 18, because the nice thing about the 18s too is if you're buying a daily and you can get any trim level, there's some nice fancier options the 18s get that the 17s didn't. So
Right.
I don't know.
Well, you can buy a digital dash already in there if you don't want to buy it from
True.
us.
You can always add one right to the 17, but you could buy one already in there with the 18. But yeah, it's an interesting question. The 18 motors are kind of scary too, with all the things you hear, which I don't really know what the failure rate is. It can't be that high, but there's something.
I've had zero I know of personally that have failed from a Ford issue. I know them that have been noisy.
Yeah.
But most of those were DI related.
That's
Ford's
good.
on the third revision of the DI pump, and this third revision, the dash C part number, is super quiet. So it's almost like Ford addressed all those tech service bulletins, realizing they shouldn't have been replacing motors with. So now I will admit there were problems. I mean, there was definitely oval pistons and oval holes and things like that in 18. But true failure rate for people that treat the car normally.
I think the GT350 is worse.
For failure rate?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't go through any of the GT350 groups that I'm in and not find a post every day about somebody arguing with the dealer. Can I file a class action lawsuit? 3,600 miles ago, they replaced my motor. I'm replacing motor number 2.
Yikes.
I just don't think, the 350, Ford just didn't put enough technology in the car. If you're going to have a motor that fires 2 cylinders at once, you should absolutely have the fucking technology in the car to be able to determine which cylinder has the problem instead of the car just not throwing a check engine light because it can't tell the difference.
Yeah, no, I agree. And they obviously don't really care, but I guess it's lesser. They're like, we're not losing that much money on it, but
Well, I think that's why they're killing it. I think Ford had two choices. They should have. The original plan, if you read way back in 15 on the GT350, was 2 years with the GT350 and then a GT500, right?
Yeah.
But the GT350, since the beginning, Ford has always said will produce as many that are ordered. So the collectability of a Shelby, unless it's an R, is really nothing because the R's are the only ones in limited numbers.
Right.
But when they've continued this far, it doesn't make sense to kill it now and not continue it all the way out unless you truly don't want to deal with the 5.2 because it's really interesting. I figured the GT500 initially would have been a 350 boosted, but it's a different block. It's cross plane instead
I
of
said
flat
from
plane.
the beginning when they announced that flat plane motor, I'm like, it's a complete gimmick. It's really stupid they're doing it. It'll sound cool, it'll rev high, but it's a gimmick, and that's really what it was. But oh well, they're great cars. Just sometimes have powertrain problems. I still want to own one because I just like them. But moving on, did you happen to see those spy shots, the 2021 F-150s? It may be a month ago now.
Like the
The interior.
217th gen, whatever the hell they're on now. Yeah.
The interior that's got, the digital cluster, of course, the huge touchscreen.
From the looks of it, that digital cluster will be able to be swapped into older trucks once you figured it out as well.
Looks good, doesn't it?
The dash doesn't look different shaped. I think we'll be able to get the bezel and clusters into older trucks from the looks of it. We'll have to try it. I think the radio is a much needed option, but I can almost bet you from what we know about Ford, it's going to be limited to platinum and limiteds only for probably the first year.
Yeah, we'll see. The new cluster is going to be the same one as the Mustang cluster. I guarantee it. I don't know for a fact yet, but it'll just mount differently. So the screen itself and the computer board in the cluster will be the same.
It'll probably have different graphics, but it should be the same.
Well, it's different software, but the hardware is the same. That's what I'm saying. Because that's how they've done it now. The first Lincoln to have it, the Nautilus was the same. The Corsair, the Escape are now the same. The new Explorer, they're all the same thing, which makes sense. The only different one was the Continental because that one came earlier. It was smaller, and they scrapped that, which is great because that one sucked. But
which means you should be able to go backwards with a proper bezel.
Right. No, I agree. You should, but we'll see. Rolling into the next topic, they're still rumoring a hybrid F-150, right? I mean, they have the all-electric one rumored too, which is stupid in my opinion, but they have the hybrid one rumored, and I'm really hoping that they do the same powertrain that the Aviator Grand Touring gets. Now, Car and Driver reviewed it and said it's really jerky and drives like crap, but I'm assuming it's mostly software related because they're using an electric motor, a gas motor, and a 10R80.
But isn't the Aviator on a Ranger frame or an Explorer?
No. The Aviator is the Explorer.
So I guess the big question on that is going to be: is it going to have the same problem the Tahoe had with the hybrid like 10 years ago, where the thing didn't get any better fuel economy because it was just a tank?
Oh, they got better fuel economy. I don't know where you got that from. Like they use the same. Most people know this. They use the same hybrid in the Durango, and that like barely got any better because they didn't try to weight save at all. But they really got better city fuel economy. The highway was no better. But no, I think they'll do a plug-in hybrid like the Aviator Grand Touring. You might lose a little section of the bed in the back.
Right.
Maybe you get a 6.5 foot bed.
Shit, that thing's already short enough.
Well, yeah, but you have an 8 foot bed and a Super Duty, so
but
not everyone.
But an F-150 is a 5.5. I mean, it's already.
But think
small.
about it. If you could get 30, let's say you get 25 miles of plug-in range, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, especially not for you with how much you drive. But for somebody commuting that still wants a truck to tow, considering that it's makes 500 horsepower, 600 foot-pounds of torque, I mean, in theory, you could tow more than a 3.5 EcoBoost, or at least tow the same. I'm sure they would make it less, but still, if you could tow 12,000 pounds with a hybrid F-150, I'll be completely honest, I will probably buy one.
Well, you just like to buy cars, so that doesn't shock me.
I love to buy cars, you know me, but but I want a truck, and I want a truck. I'd love a Super Duty, but I really can't justify buying one because I don't use it enough. I definitely use it, but I can rent for less money, and I don't really want a daily a truck. But if it was a plug-in hybrid truck, I might daily it because I can charge it for free at work, and it would just make sense for me. But I don't know. I know a lot of people disagree with me. A lot of people don't. A lot of car guys, especially, don't like hybrids, electrics, and some people are coming around. But I'm very big on hybrids, electrics. I own a hybrid Escape right now. I've had a plug-in hybrid Fusion. I had an all-electric Focus. So I've thought about buying Teslas. Never have. I mean, you wouldn't be surprised if I came home with one tomorrow. But
I was just going to ask when you're going to build another garage for all these cars you want to buy.
oh, yeah, we won't talk about that. But yeah, I need a shop. Seriously. Now the Mustang hybrid I find interesting, and I don't know because that was a rumor, but they've said it's really going to happen. And I'm wondering if it's going to piss off the purists even more than the EcoBoost already does. But um, I'm betting it's a 2.3 EcoBoost with a hybrid motor on it, and it's going to make a little more power than the 2.3 EcoBoost, but not as much as the GT. What do you think?
I don't know. When I was at the dealer the other day, we were talking about the all-electric Mustang. I didn't really think about the hybrid. Yeah. No, not the SUV. The actual Mustang that's all electric, like you saw go down the track.
Oh, that one-off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody made a Camaro like that too, like it's a drag car.
Right.
Oh, and then there's the Camaro drift car. It's all electric. It's Camaro, right?
I'm not allowed to have my office light on, just so you know.
Done.
For anybody watching, the flickering.
Oh, okay.
Can't have my light on.
Anyways, and then there's also the Mach E, though, which is some people claim that Mustang will turn into a brand. I don't know what you think, but I mean, I think the Mach E is fine. I have a feeling it's going to have issues because it's a Ford product and it's brand new, but they'll fix them. They'll work it out. But I thought about ordering one, but I have since decided not to because there's just other things I'd rather buy, I think.
I think Ford's going to be 5-6 years behind the game by the time they actually release a consumer all-electric
Well, they
car
have
compared
so many
to
new hybrid and electrics coming out compared to any other company. I think Toyota's the second. Well, if you exclude like Tesla.
Well,
but
that's the scary spot to me is they didn't perfect anything. You look at how Tesla did it. They said, "Here's the Model S.
right.
Here's the Model X."
Well, and Ford's trying to take their current lineup and add hybrids to a lot of it, and
Ford's doing what they've always done. They took their Ford line and made it super small during the Depression or recession, whatever you want to convert it as. Now it's going massive again. Think about it. You're gonna be able to get a Mustang hybrid, a Mustang electric, probably still a Mustang gas car because people.
In my opinion, like something like an Escape should be hybrid only. I don't think they need anything else because it really these days it doesn't add a whole lot of cost. It definitely adds cost. Or maybe you have two options. You have a cheap version and then a hybrid version, right? You have use that old 2.5 NA, great motor, just slow. But they won't listen to me because they think consumers won't listen, which consumers might not. People are scared of hybrids for whatever reason, even though hybrids are more reliable than their gas counterparts in almost all cases. If you look at like,
I think the
Fusion,
other big,
for example.
I think the other big kicker that's going to come out of this is all this research that's starting to come out that electric cars are actually more of an issue to the environment than gas cars. It'll be interesting to see if companies switch their stance because I have a feeling tree huggers and everybody else is eventually going to go, "Oh God, kill the electric car. We were wrong. Go back to gas."
I've said that for years that electric cars are definitely more environmentally damaging, or it takes a lot longer to make up for the effects of the environmental damage. But people don't ever think about the big picture. I don't really honestly like electric cars for the environmental aspect. I like them because I like instant torque. I like modern technology and things like that. I do like good gas mileage because it's cheaper. Hence why I own a hybrid Escape, and I got like 43 mpg coming home from work today, which is great for an Escape.
I'm surprised you're still driving the thing. I'd be driving my Porsche everywhere.
Well, it's filthy right now, and I drove it on the track. I'm giving it a little break from last weekend, so
that it can self-heal itself during all that.
I drive it around, but I also have to bring large amounts of boxes from the office to Clay, and it's so sometimes I can't always drive that. But Though it does have good frunk space. So, speaking of Porsche, though, have you looked at the new Taycan at all? They're an all-electric sedan, Model S competitor, really.
I've only seen the Daily Driven Exotics review on YouTube. Where they
Okay,
were
well, at
trying
least
to,
you've seen the review.
and
What?
the weird sound the exhaust makes.
Oh, it's so cool. It's exhaust.
Angry Jetsons.
Yeah, Angry Jetsons, right? It sounds so cool. It's a $500 option. You better believe if I bought one, I would get that option. But what I find interesting is in classic Porsche fashion, it's rated to like a 200-mile EPA range, which everybody's just like, well, this is stupid. But then in reality, people are getting well over 300 miles in it. So it's like my Cayman. It's like 365 crank horsepower rated. On the dyno, it gets about 365 horsepower. So they just do stuff like that. I'm curious if it's gonna take any Model S competition now that Tesla lowered the base price on the Model S significantly. Like it's like 85,000 now for a dual motor all wheel drive version with the large battery. They don't have any other options. Same with the X.
Right.
I think Tesla will keep selling them. When they were 115, then the Taycan was way more competitive because the 4S Taycan starts at 100. So I'd rather have a Taycan all day long.
I think Elon Musk's end game is to license out his patents and focus on SpaceX. Anyways, I've always known that Tesla was a way to pay for SpaceX in the early stages. Like, if you're gonna
Now
blow
it's
up
making money.
yeah, and now they got government contracts for SpaceX too, and he's got a bunch of battery patents. Now he's doing all the. People forget that Tesla does all the roof tiles now too that are solar. So they install roof tiles with the battery banks to take you completely off the grid. Like, I think the car doesn't have to drive the $100,000 price point for them anymore because he's got everything else kind of worked out at the same time.
Did you see the next gen M5 might only have hybrid options?
No, I didn't. That seemed
I
kind of
thought
dumb.
that was interesting. The M5 has gotten so outrageously expensive, though. They don't sell any of them anymore. They're so rare.
Even Mercedes is super expensive. What was I telling you about the other day? I was looking at an E63 AMG S or whatever. They're like, we're $172,000 brand new, and I can buy one 3 or 4 years old right now.
S63 is probably an S63.
No, I was looking at E63 AMG S's.
I don't probably a little cheaper than 173. Sounds high, but
150ish probably. Either way, it was well north of 100 grand.
Well, you can buy new AMG GTRs for like 215 with options.
Right.
So.
Well, like that E63 AMG S that I was going to use as a daily driver, just a nice luxury car.
Oh yeah.
What did I tell you? They were like 40 grand used with 30,000 miles on them, like 3-4 years old. Like,
no, I know they take such a hit right off the bat, and then they actually hold their value well for a little while. But you just such a big hit off the bat.
I guess the big question is, does BMW think that's going to hold the value more? Because even the M5 and M3s and all that take massive hits too on value. Do they think a hybrid's going to hold its value?
M5 like 2019. I'm genuinely curious. I'm betting it sells even less though if they go to a hybrid only model. Even though they're going to be ridiculously fast with. And the current ones are fast too.
What's interesting is nobody's trying to compete.
Grand.
No, what's interesting is nobody's trying to compete with Lamborghini, Volkswagen, Audi, whatever else they own with the RS. Is it the RS7? The like hatchback 4-door car, stupid twin turbo fast Audi. Like, I'm surprised BMW and Mercedes are not trying to take on those two as competition.
Probably the competitor with the RS7.
What is?
The E63S is probably the competitor with the RS7.
Yeah, but what's BMW going to use to compete with it?
M5.
M5, I don't even. They're just too expensive.
Once you tell me something's going to cost 200 grand, it better have Lamborghini or Ferrari or McLaren on the name.
Well, that's another funny as you bring that up is like Audi just dropped the RSQ7, RSQ8, and it's the same thing as an Urus, but less than half the price.
But 150 grand less.
Just an Audi badge, and it doesn't.
What's the price on it?
What, 150?
They start, I think, like at like 110 to 120.
110 to 120, and it's got the same power plant and chassis and everything as the Urus. And the Urus, which is hilarious, they've run it around tracks, right? And it's faster around tracks, that giant SUV, than a lot of cars.
Right.
Yeah, the M5s take a huge hit used too, looking at like
They are
mid
ugly as
70s.
hell.
But
None of that shit holds its value. I mean, that's what's
It's
crazy.
German cars in general.
Well,
they
I
hold
think
their
it's all
value.
cars.
Not they have a big hit initially.
I was looking at that 570, was it?
My Porsche.
The 570S or whatever, and you're like, oh, that's not the
Oh,
McLaren to
yeah.
get. And I'm like, yeah, it's not the McLaren to get. This thing has 8,000 miles on it. Every carbon fiber option at
Like
240
grand.
240 grand sticker price, and the car was 105,000, 2 years old.
Well, it's like my Cayman, 105,000 sticker. I paid 75, right?
Yeah.
2 years old, 4,000 miles. So that's but the funny thing is, it really won't go much lower. I mean, of course, if I put a bunch of miles on it, that'll bring the price down. But
It makes
stick there.
it makes Mustangs losing value seem like nothing. Bought my car for 37,000. 3 years later, it's worth 29. Okay, well at least you didn't take a 50K hit.
losing like $6 grand on a car deal.
Percentage wise, it's terrible. But I mean, you're not losing a small
That's
house
why
worth
it's so
of money.
hard for me to buy brand new cars. And I bought that Escape brand new, but I got a chunk off of MSRP. So if I was to sell it now, I'd lose maybe $4,000, which is less than 10%. So
Are you still driving that thing every day, or is it just sit?
The Escape?
Yeah.
I drove it today. Yeah, I drive it.
My wife has, I think, a
Only
base
got
model.
4,000 miles.
A base model is her loaner because they need 7 days to do an oil change and service. But her Ford First Service is free plan. I should have just done it myself, but I was like, well, go get it done. It's free. Might as well, right?
Yeah.
And they gave her an Escape base, and she's like, I fucking hate this thing. And I'm like, well, at least we know not to buy you.
You know what's funny is Car and Driver reviewed a bunch of stuff, and they had a base model Escape. Oh no! It was Consumer Reports, and they had like the highest end of every other SUV, and then they had the base model version of the Escape, like complete base model. And they're like, the interior feels really cheap, and we don't recommend it because of that. And I'm just like, you bought a base model though. What do you expect? But
Right.
I don't know. I like it. It's not perfect, but it gets 43 mpg. If they had a Lincoln Corsair hybrid, I probably would have balled out and bought that, but that's not out yet. So I didn't, which is fine because I saved money. And if I would have driven an Explorer, I probably would have bought that. But my buddy who's a salesman didn't let me drive one that day. So I'm like, I'll just buy these.
I had an Explorer.
But you know how I go through cars.
I had that Explorer as a loaner, that 2020 when they first came out. And
no, they're great. I had a limited.
ST, I mean, I didn't realize the ST had such a different interior with the screen being like vertical instead of sideways.
Oh, that's just the premium tech pack, and it comes on the Platinum or ST. It's an option. Right. I'm actually tempted to buy one of those touchscreens. Or one of our the same supplier that does FCIMs can get them, but they're $600, and just to do some testing, it seems
What would you
expensive.
put it in?
Well, I could boot it up.
Explorer conversion.
I could boot it up on the emulator. Well, that's actually something interesting. Is there is a conversion for the Explorers, and it's not hard to do. And I've thought about selling it, or we could sell it rather. I haven't talked to you about this, but I've thought about it. But it's you need a couple trim pieces. So in reality, it'd probably be a $1,300 swap said and done just for the touchscreen. That's all you have to do is change the touchscreen. That's APIM programming. You tell it you have the tall screen.
Yeah.
But
I'm wondering about conversions from like XLT Explorers that don't have any big screen.
Don't they all have Sync 3?
I've never been in a base model.
I think the XLTs have them. Maybe the base model doesn't, like the police versions and whatnot. But I know at the Escape they all have Sync 3, and they all have lane assist and blind spot and forward collision warning. But yeah, that's interesting. But that brings me into, did you see today, or maybe it was yesterday, a Model 3 Tesla on autopilot crash into a flipped over truck on the highway?
Yeah, I did.
You did?
I did see that, yeah.
Did you watch the video?
I didn't watch the video. I just saw the news.
Watch the video. It's hilarious. The thing just doesn't do anything. I'm like, I just don't understand how that's possible. It's got these cameras and it's got a radar. Like how did the programming not say, oh, hey, there's a huge wall right here, essentially. Let's just plow into it. And that's exactly what it did. So
it's in riot mode. Tesla updated it to riot mode to run everything over.
My Escape has Ford's lane centering, which comes with their Copilot Plus, whatever,
Right.
360 Copilot Plus. And then I know some of the new Lincolns have it. The new Explorer has it. The trucks don't have it yet, but I'm sure they'll add it for 2021, which would be another reason for me to buy one. It's if you use cruise control and you like adaptive cruise control especially, it's one of the nicest things. Is you just like get on the highway and you set the cruise and it just drives for you essentially. It won't change lanes, but it'll stay in your lane and just steer for you. And it's actually made it really bad to where I like will be on my phone or I won't pay attention and I'll just be like, I'll look up and I'll be going like 60 miles an hour behind some 18-wheeler and I'll be like, I guess I'll go around them. But it just drives for you and it does a really good job, at least in the Escape it does. And I know a lot of people don't like that stuff. Some people don't even like cruise control. Some people are like, I got to be in control. I won't use cruise control. But
I like cruise control. I don't like adaptive cruise control. But my only
See, I
experience
like
with adaptive cruise
control.
control has been in Super Duties. And my buddy's truck, he has a 17 F250 Platinum. I think that was the first year they put adaptive cruise in the Super Duties, the new version. And I can
Yeah.
drive his car. And if somebody, I don't know if it's based on the way of the vehicle or the camera angle, like where it ends up in the lines, but if somebody's like getting ready to turn and you're clearly going to be able to go by them, the car will almost lock up, his truck will almost lock up the brakes.
Yeah, see,
with
I've
that
gotten
on.
really good at, I mean, on the street at least, I've gotten really good at anticipating that. So what I'll actually do is put my foot on the gas a little bit, which overrides it hitting the brake. It won't hit the brake at all then. So I know what you're talking about though, especially on the highway, like when it keeps too big of a gap. So if I'm like, well, I want to get over to pass this guy, but I don't know if somebody else is coming up. I'll actually put my foot on the gas a little bit. So I know what you're saying. I still like it though, because it's really nice for traffic. It's really nice for traffic. That's that's about it. The lane center is nice for traffic too, because you literally don't do anything. You just, I mean, you can even keep your hands off the steering wheel for the most part. You might have touched it every once in a while. It'll get mad at you, but it works so well. I'm such a fan of the autonomous stuff. Now, I do believe, like with full autopilot and stuff, you still have to have some level of awareness. With the lane centering, the awareness level, it can be a little bit lower because it's not changing lanes. It's not, but you still need to pay attention so you don't run into a truck like that, you know?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it is
I don't
what
know.
it is.
The autonomous stuff is going to get kind of interesting.
The new Bronco is fully confirmed now and is actually coming for 2021.
Is there any details about it? I only saw the rendering of the
There were no
supposedly the rendering
details.
of the 2 and 4 door.
There's spy shots of it off-roading.
Oh, I did see the spy shots of it off-roading. That's right. I'm betting it's going to be like a Ranger, but
2.3 and 2.7, I bet.
I hope it gets better engines than just the 2.3, but we'll see.
Is that what it's supposed to get? Like they're making it out to be a like Explorer or bigger size, but is it really going to be smaller?
I mean, the Explorer gets the 2.3.
There's two different kinds, I think.
Oh,
There's the Bronco Sport and then just the Bronco, I think.
so maybe they'll have a 2.7 EcoBoost, or maybe they'll put the Coyote in, but
No, they won't.
It'll
They
be a
probably
3.5. Be a 3.5 Eco, like the Raptor.
I bet you it won't be. I bet you it'll be 2.7.
It's such a
Maybe a 3.0.
trash ass motor.
I don't
That 2.7 twin turbo is trash.
The 3.0 is pretty good, and it's based off the 2.7, and the 2.7 is based off the 3.5.
Maybe a 4.16.
Maybe they'll
Yeah.
put the Eco Diesel in there, or not the whatever they call it, the 3-liter Power Stroke.
Predator block.
I thought they killed that off.
No, they still make them. I mean, they might for 2021, but I bet they don't. They'll probably still make them. I'm curious how much it's going to compete with the Wrangler. I think it actually will compete pretty well with the Wrangler if it's any good, and I'm sure it will be good, but we'll see. I hate Wranglers, which means I probably won't really like the Bronco a whole lot either. I'll probably like it better in a Wrangler just because it's not a freaking FCA product, but
Well,
just
FCA
have
went
to wait for
downhill when they merged with Mercedes, and then it got even worse when they cut ties with Mercedes.
well, I will tell you, the new Ram trucks, they're way better than the new Chevy trucks. I really do like them. They are quite a step up from the last gen, and they look better. And the interiors are just miles better. And even the last gens and the higher trims aren't bad, but the new gens are really, really nice. I mean, I'd still buy an F-150 because it's me, but I can see why people buy them. I would never. God, the new 1500 Chevys are so ugly, especially in the lower trims. But
like a trail
The
boss.
GMCs are not bad looking, but the or not the Tahoe, the 1500. What the heck, Silverado? It's just they're so ugly. They are coming out with a new Tahoe though, and it's finally independent rear suspension is going to catch up to the Expedition, which has been IRS since like 90 or like 2001. So congratulations to GM on that one. They're hurting sales though, because the Expedition just killed their sales, and now the Expeditions aren't even selling well, but nor are the Tahoes. So I don't know what people are buying, but I guess they decided to go either to trucks or they're going to like Explorers. And
The Explorers have gotten so big, it's ridiculous. The new Explorer reminds me of the size of like my mom's friends' Navigators back in the day, like late
oh
90s.
yeah, you're probably right.
What's everything though?
Everything's bigger though. Yeah,
Really?
you look at like an F-150 today to like 99, and it's
I had like a 99 to 04 F350 dually parked next to my 2020 dually the other day in a parking lot. And I'm like, oh, that thing's so cute. It's so small. Like it looks like an F-150 size with oversized fenders and dual rear wheels. Super low to the ground, super short. I'm in 2 parking spots, front to back to be able to put the truck in it.
It's all bigger, but it's all way more efficient, way more powerful. Technology is incredible.
Oh yeah, that guy could probably tow what 19,000 pounds of that dually, 20,000 pounds maybe with that dually way back in the day.
Oh, I don't know. Your truck though can bumper pull like 16, and then it can gooseneck like 30.
No, the setup of my truck can gooseneck pull 42,000 pounds.
I think you need a 450 for that high, but
you only need 410s or 430s.
That'd be so slow. I mean, those 6.7s have a lot of power, but man, that much weight.
You can tow a house. The comparison next to that guy is like you can tow a house.
Right.
Like he's still towing his trailer and you're towing a house.
It'd be like towing my trailer with my 5403 Expedition, which is so slow. So but that's only towing 9,000 pounds, which its limit is 9,000 pounds.
Have you been in the dually when I'm towing the trailer in a car and pulling like 12,000 pounds behind us?
I just towed my trailer with a 17 diesel dually, which is the same as yours except 17, so it's got 50 foot-pounds less of torque and 25 less horsepower. But
different turbo too, different trans.
Okay, but they're very similar. And it's incredible. It tows my 10,000 pound with a car trailer like almost like there's nothing there. I mean, you can feel it, but it's like with that Expedition towing that thing, it's like white knuckled the whole time, and I'm using a weight distributing hitch and everything. And then this thing, you just throw it on the drop hitch, no weight distribution, and you just don't know it's there. It's so great. Those trucks are so good. It's honestly incredible how good the trucks are these days. And that's why they're so freaking expensive.
What's crazy is I daily drive one.
Well, not anymore.
I haven't driven the Mustang in 4 or 5 days. Just sitting in the garage. There's like 90 miles on it.
Drive it.
Waiting for the suspension and wheels and tires to get here.
Well, it doesn't have Sync 3.
I turned on Bluetooth to my phone to listen to it that way. So, like, it's nice. I just, half the time I've got to pick crap up anyways in the truck. Like, I have to pick the days I drive that, because if I have to pick up boxes or drop stuff off.
That's how I am with driving my Escape. I have to decide, am I going to have a bunch of boxes to take home, or can I drive the Cayman, or my Mustang?
That's pretty much where I end up. So I figure when the wheels, tires, and suspension gets here, I'll make more of an effort to make sure I drive it so it doesn't just blend in with everybody else on the road. But in reality, in about 2 weeks, it'll be twin turboed anyways, so it doesn't.
So I'm going to start wrapping this up, but one thing I skipped over was my my Mustang, the 16 GT Whipple GT, has no cats, right? And I'm having a hard time getting it to pass emissions here. So my boss, I'm doing what my boss does, where I start an LLC in Montana. I'm going to register in Montana, so I don't have to pass emissions. And I honestly should do this for almost all my cars, because we have personal property tax here in Missouri. So you have to pay, they take the value of the car, divide it by 4, and then you pay 10% tax on that. So for example, my Porsche, if it's worth $80,000, it's not worth that much. But if it's worth $80,000, you're going to pay 10% on 20 grand. So that would be $2,000 a year in personal property tax. If I register in Montana, I don't pay that. And there's no sales tax there either. So if you register a new car, you buy a car, you register the LLC, there's no sales tax. So I could have saved $4,000 on the Porsche if I would have done this earlier. So that was really stupid on my part. But
You don't have to have a driver's license up there to make that work.
Nope, you just have to have a registered agent, and the state literally lets you do that. You can just say, just like, where's your registered agent? And there's companies that do it. The one I'm using is $50 a year, and they forward you any legal documents you get immediately, and they're great, and they respond to email really fast.
So
they
what
also
do?
register cars.
Like title transfer it to the address and.
No, you don't title transfer it to that address. You do technically. You title transfer it to your LLC. So the car gets registered in the name of the LLC you started, which, yes, the address is that address, but you still own the vehicle and you still hold the title. It's not like this.
Just going to get a Montana title versus a Missouri.
You get a Montana title, you get Montana plates, and you can mail it all into the DMV or the company that is a registered agent. They also give you the option. It's kind of pricey, but they give you the option where you send them the stuff and they will next day get you the plates. They literally send somebody to the DMV, get you the plates, and then they'll overnight them to you. So it's not legal in every state. Some states don't allow you to do that. The state of Missouri, unless it's changed recently, their requirement is it doesn't matter where the car is licensed as long as it doesn't stay in the state of Missouri for more than 90 consecutive days. So I just got to drive over to Illinois once every 3 months, which is like 20 minutes from here, 25 minutes.
For a day, or it just has to cross the border?
Huh?
It just has to cross the border? You got to leave it for like a day?
No, they don't say anything about that. They just say the car can't be in the state for 90 consecutive days. But to be completely honest, my boss does his RV, for example, because $300,000 RV, though that's actually another thing is Montana. If you have a vehicle over an MSRP of 150,000 or an RV over 300,000, you have to pay $800 a year in registration fees. But being in St. Louis, that's a lot cheaper than the like $5,000 a year he would pay in personal property tax otherwise. So it makes sense for him to do that. But the other cool thing about Montana is once a vehicle is 10 years old, it's a lifetime plate. You never have to re-register it. Oh yeah, and there's no safety or emissions inspections, but you never have to re-register it after 10 years. You just get a plate and there's no fees or anything. It's just lifetime. So it's quite a good deal if it's legal in your state. Obviously, if you buy a car, you have to register.
How do you know what state that's legal in?
You just have to read your state laws. I'm sure somebody's wrote something up about it, but it's something people have done for years. Like my boss, he has a Tesla that is registered there, so it just depends on the laws. And I mean, some states it might be possible to get away with, even though it might not be completely legal necessarily, or you might be bending the rules, but in Missouri we're okay to do it. So yeah, just to pass emissions, because I can't really easily pass it. I'm going, well, not to mention I don't have to pay personal property tax on it. So that's the biggest reason, is just not having to pay the yearly taxes. And then if I buy anything new, no sales tax. So I'll probably keep a car registered here, probably my Expedition or something, just because.
Yeah, I'm curious if that applies to Texas, because the 15 will never pass emissions or inspection ever again.
You guys have it up there in the Woodlands? Is it the state of Texas, or is it just county by county?
There's only 4 counties out of 230 something in the state of Texas that require it.
That's how Missouri is. It's only in the St. Louis area. I don't even think the Kansas City area does it. Or maybe one of the Kansas City counties does it, but it's really.
Yeah, I wonder if I'd be able to do that in Texas. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't know how I'd find out.
Look into. I'm
you
not
probably
saying
be able to. You honestly could probably just ask the company that you're working with if Texans can do it. If they can, I'll just transfer the 15 to it.
Yeah, it'd be easy. Yeah, hey, if you want to sell my LLC a car, I'll buy it for free.
No, I'm just saying, like, you could probably ask them.
It's not expensive to set up your own LLC.
No. I would just have it on. But I'm saying you could probably ask the company you're working with, like, hey, do people in Texas do this? Because if they do, then it's just set up another LLC and transfer ownership to Montana.
The only thing that gets sticky is your insurance. You got to make sure you're telling your insurance the car is where it is. It's in Texas. You're not telling them it's in Montana, because that would be illegal.
Right.
Because, like, for example, in Missouri,
no, you just keep your address and storage here.
Right, exactly. Your insurance rates in Missouri are really high, and that's due to hail. So Midwest has the highest insurance rates of or premiums of just probably not everywhere, but most places. And so if I told them I was storing in Montana or driving into Montana, then my premiums would go down. But if I had it here, and I've actually heard of them denying claims for people who lie about where they store the cars.
No, you just tell me store it here, but register it there. I mean, I don't have any of
Yeah,
that
just
tax stuff,
bottom
but for
line is just don't
emissions,
lie.
for
You know,
emissions,
do everything legally.
for emissions, that would be an interesting thing. So
Yeah, I mean, and they might change the laws. That's the thing. They could change the law any day of the week, right? They could decide, all right, we want to make it so
can't do that.
you can't do that.
Then you'd have to transfer it back.
But I mean, it's hard to change that law. What do you say? It's really hard to change that law, but it's like interesting because Montana, if you have like property in Montana,
Yeah,
you have to prove that, you know, you live there. Even if you don't live there, you have to prove that you own the property. But if it's an LLC, they don't care. They're just like, all right, you can register anything you want to the LLC: boat, car, plane, train.
yeah, that would be curious because if I could switch the registration of the Mustang, I wouldn't have to worry about it.
Right. Now, for all people listening that are like, oh, that sounds a great idea, I want to do that. If you have a loan, it gets sticky because you got to sell the car to your own company that you've made, which
Right.
you still own it. But if you have a loan, well, you got a lien on your title and you can't just get rid of that. You'd have to pay off the vehicle first. And that also possibly makes it sticky for getting new loans, depending on who your lender is. If you're trying to title it, it is a single member LLC. So it is going through you and your credit, but some places are weird about trying to apply for that credit, but title it to a business. So just keep that in mind if you're thinking about doing it, a good idea, because unless you're paying cash or you've got other ways of getting loans or whatnot, it could be a little.
It makes sense for cars you own outright, at least. Like if I never had to mess with it again, considering that car is going to be north of 1,500 wheel horsepower, it's never going to pass an inspection. Ever.
No, I know that's on mine is, and I'm not going to put cats back on it, and I don't want to deal with the rigmarole. I mean, there's ways to get it to work in the state of Missouri, but it's a pain, and I'm just like, let's just go through Montana and not pay personal property tax.
There you go.
So,
well, cool, man. You got any other topics we need to wrap up on, or you want to end there for the day?
Quite the topic list and quite the diverse topic list, though automotive related. That was a good conversation. So
well, perfect. Well, until episode 8, we got to get back on track. It's been a big hiatus of trying to get these things done. But if the live thing works and we publish the audio,
it's two of us, and there's so much work to do. So.
But if this audio transcribes the right way, this might be the way we do it in the future, so people can ask questions as it becomes more popular, and we'll go from there. But I guess we'll